Hey, what's up? I'm Rafael di Furia, aka Rafi D is me, and I am back at it again on another beautiful Friday night. This week we are going to be talking about a subject which has been pretty highly requested actually, but a subject I've been trying to avoid. Jure Matrimonii, citizenship in Italy through marriage. But before we get too much deeper into the video, if you would like to see more content like this about moving to Italy, Italian dual citizenship, and living life abroad, please be sure to subscribe with that notification bell turned on, and if you could also give this video a like, I would really appreciate that. And also, if you'd like to help out the channel in another way, feel free to share this video with your friends who you think might find this interesting through social media, email, WhatsApp, however you guys keep in contact. And also a big thank you to the patrons who are helping to make videos like this possible. And also, if you're wanting to help make videos possible like this on a monthly basis, you can go to rafaeldifuria.com/Patreon, or if you'd like to help out just once, you can go to rafaeldifuria.com/support. So it's been a while since I've done a video about citizenship and some of these more technical parts of living in Italy, but why have I actually been avoiding Jure Matrimonii? In some ways, it's actually a little bit of a touchy subject for some people, and there are a lot of people who aren't happy that it exists, but that's not so much the reason. The main reason is more to do with that there have been a lot of changes in the system that have been introduced since December. So because of kind of this not volatile, but that there's a lot of things that have been unknown, I wanted to wait until things settled down a little bit more. And it seems as though things are pretty settled now. And before we get really into the meat and potatoes of this video, I'm always more than happy if you're looking for help with Jure Matrimonii or Jure Sanguinis to make recommendations based on whatever needs you might have. So if you're needing any sort of help throughout this process, feel free to contact me privately through email, and my information is down below in the more info section. Also, by the way, just because it is a common question that I get in regards to citizenship through marriage, Italy does recognize same-sex marriages. Also, as a quick side note, for women who were married to an Italian citizen before 1983, you actually already technically would be an Italian citizen, and all that you would need to do would just be to go and apply for Italian citizenship. Before we get into what to do if you're living in Italy, first let's talk about if you're residing abroad. In this video, I'm not really going to be going into all of the documentation that you need, but there are a few documents that are very important. Firstly, of course, if you're married, you should have a wedding certificate, a civil wedding certificate. A wedding certificate from a religious authority will not be good enough. And for example, say you are living in a little small city called San Rafael, California, just outside of San Francisco. That would mean that you're living under the jurisdiction of the San Francisco Italian consulate. And for whichever spouse in the marriage is the Italian citizen, it's very important to make sure that they are registered in the AIRE. What is the AIRE? Quickly, without going into too many details, it's the Registry of Italian Citizens who are living abroad. This is a part of the greater system of Italy's record keeping, because in Italy, all major life events in Italy are transcribed for every single citizen. And say you got married in San Rafael, your marriage certificate from San Rafael would have to be sent to San Francisco and transcribed and registered in the AIRE. Once that marriage has been transcribed, then you don't really have to worry about it. One of the other important documents is a criminal rap sheet for whoever the non-Italian spouse is for every country that they've been living in since the age of 14. And that will also need an apostille if it's available from the country that you're living in. But if you're from the United States, for example, if you get an FBI criminal report, it's not actually possible to get an apostille. The FBI actually issues their own certification, which is a non-raised, non-embossed seal. That is their own level, their own federal level. So if you're trying to get it certified in any way, you can't. It's certified as it is if you're getting it through the FBI directly or through one of their channelers. And also, all of the criminal records have to have at least a 6-month validity. And that means that your application would need to be made within that 6-month period. But if you're living in Italy, I'm going to assume that you and your spouse have already registered your marriage at the comune where you are currently living. So I'm not going to go into those details too much, but it would be roughly the same sort of thing. If you got married in Italy, you just need to register your marriage in Italy, but registering your marriage in Italy is a little bit different than registering it in the United States. These are not all of the documents that you're going to need, but the other document, the last document that I would say is really key and vital to be able to get citizenship through marriage now, because this is one of the updates that came back in December of 2018, is the B1 Italian language certificate. The B1 level certification, in theory, it's supposed to be lower intermediate, but the grammar that they test you on, I would not say is necessarily so simple. In theory, what they say B1 level certification is for is to be able to kind of get around and take care of basic daily tasks. So if you are going to be an Italian citizen, and especially if you're planning on living in Italy, knowing Italian is not a bad thing. And as a matter of fact, I would actually say and argue that it is quite necessary. In some countries in Europe, it may not be so necessary, and even in some parts of Italy, it may not be so necessary, but I would say it doesn't matter where you're going. Knowing the local language is going to help you no matter where you go, but especially in Italy. Also, it's possible to get tested in America or in Italy, and it's not required to take a B1 preparatory course, but it could be a good idea. But it all depends on what level of Italian you already have or don't have. Now that we've talked about the documents a little bit, again, I didn't talk about everything. These are just kind of the most important ones. What are actually the basic minimum requirements of being able to get Italian citizenship through marriage? Again, the B1 level certificate, very important. You actually won't be able to make an application if you don't present the B1 level certificate to the consulate. And this even counts for some appointments that happened in December, that even though you applied back then, right when this was being put into effect, you still might need to give them and probably will need to give them a B1 level certificate. But for sure, as of the recording of this video, it's going to absolutely be necessary from now on. But even potentially if you applied before December of 2018, and if your process hasn't finished already, it might be necessary for you to get this B1 certificate, but you're going to have to talk to the authority who you applied through, because there are different little factors that could change depending on your specific circumstances. But in theory, everybody's supposed to need it now. And the B1 level certificate will also be required for citizenship through residency. But the next more important part is that you actually are married. But if you've been living outside of Italy, living abroad, then you would have to be married for at least 3 years. But if you're living in Italy, then that number is knocked down to 2 years. But if you have children with your Italian spouse, then that time is cut in half. So if you're living abroad, that would be 1.5 years. But if you, your Italian spouse, and your children or child are all living together in Italy, then the required amount of time is only 1 year. If you and your spouse are residing in the US, you'll have to actually make the application at the Italian consulate, or if you're living in Italy, you would make it through the prefecture. And then in regards to the price, currently the processing fee is 250 euros. If you're applying in America, that fee will need to be paid in dollars. But for the most up-to-date current fees and conversion rates that the Italian consulates are going by, they update those quarterly, and what you'll want to do is check with your local consulate's website, as they should be keeping that updated, as I said, quarterly. And moving on to the last part of this process, the processing time. At this point in time, the Italian government has 48 months to be able to give you an answer for this. But anyway, if you have any questions about Italian dual citizenship or anything about living life abroad, feel free to leave that down in the comment section below. If you're needing any kind of help through this process, I don't personally offer services to help people, but if you're looking for someone to walk you through the process, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, feel free to send me an email on the contact form down below, and I'll be more than happy to make whatever recommendations that I can. And if you would like to see more content like this about moving to Italy, Italian dual citizenship, and living life abroad, please be sure to subscribe with that notification bell turned on. And if you could also give this video a like, I would really appreciate it, as it does help out the channel. And if you are wanting to help out the channel in another way, feel free to share these videos with your friends on social media, email, WhatsApp, however you guys keep in contact, if you think that they might find this video helpful and or interesting. And of course, a huge thank you to those of you who make videos possible like this on a monthly basis through Patreon. And if you would also like to become a patron, you can go to rafaeldifuria.com/Patreon if you want to help on a monthly basis, or if you just want to help out one time, you can go to rafaeldifuria.com/support. And of course, as always, I'm Rafael Di Furia, aka Rafi D is me, and thank you for joining me on another beautiful Friday night. I look forward to seeing you all next Friday, maybe next Tuesday. Keep an eye open. No promises, but you never know. Anyway, whenever it is the next time that we see each other, I hope you all have a great weekend, a great week, whatever it may be, and I'll see y'all next time. Later.